Okay, we're at a minute past everyone, so I'm going to kick proceedings off and hopefully we'll see some more people turning up as we go along. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. The community call today is extra special for us as it is our first one under our new name as Autonomous. As always, we're here to answer your questions and give you insights into the latest developments with the project. Joining us today, obviously myself, I'm Jim, I'm the head of ecosystem at Autonomous. We also have Ryan, who's a community manager. We have Lapesh, our new CEO. Very excited to welcome you to the stage, Lapesh. We do have Todd, our CFO, who's just dropped off. Maybe he's having mic problems. Hopefully, he'll be back on in a moment. As always, for future announcements, please do keep an eye on all of our Telegram, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and forum. Note that we are still rebranding our socials gradually. And feel free to raise your hand in Discord or post any questions in the event stage chat. We do like questions. A quick agenda summary. We will be, hopefully you've had a chance to digest our blog post announcing the rebrand, but if not, Ryan will be giving us a quick recap on its contents. Following that, I'm very excited, as I said, that you'll get to meet our new CEO, Lapesh. After that, we'll have Todd, our CFO, speak on the TGE and the importance of Autonomous ensuring we remain compliant with our regulatory obligations. And then just before we head into the open Q&A, I'll be giving everyone a rundown on Stake Wars 2, which I know many in our audience have been waiting for. Great anticipation for it. And during the Q&A, of course, we'd like you to ask your questions. We've provided ample time. We've held at the end of the call to address them. But before we launch into our rebrand recap, I do have an important message for all the farmers out there. Farmers need to upgrade to at least the June 18th release. That was the release that was dropped yesterday to prepare for Stake Wars 2. Otherwise, their nodes may crash when we deploy the numerous runtime upgrades required to facilitate it. So to avoid any disappointment, please make sure that you're running the latest build. I'm going to say that at the start and at the end to make sure that everyone hears that. So without further ado, Ryan, are you able to give us a quick rundown on the rebrand?
Are you guys able?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's first recap kind of the journey of. In 2021, co-founders Jeremiah and Nazar launched their Subspace network by releasing the Farmer's Dilemma white paper. And so over time, Subspace has evolved to a scalable layer 0 blockchain that offers modular web. And so here's what we have achieved in the past few months up transition. First, our current incentivized testnet Gen 9. We have over 9,000 current nodes pledging 140 petabytes of storage in order to secure the network with our proof of archival storage. So I want to give a shout out and a round of applause for all of our testnet farmers. You guys are the OG. You guys are what's running our testnet. We also have Stake Wars. In January, we tested our proof of stake model domains that utilize operators and denominators by network. And with that, we had 320 operators staking 500,000 and 1,004 nominators that trusted these operators, 300,000 CSS. We also had a mini space race, basically tested our readiness for main launch. You guys absolutely killed it. Community smash notification by plotting petabytes, 6 days, and this 8 petabytes is enough space here in our time. So we are very proud of our community for that. There's a lot more to come. So what's next for this? I want to discuss how AI has impacted our daily lives. So when machine learning was first introduced, that kind of marked the beginning of AI 1.0. And with the usage of LLMs now, large language models, we have entered the era of AI 2. And so over the past year, we as Autonomous have delved deep into the realm of AI. Now we want to pave the way towards AI 3.0, which is the convergence of Web3 and AI technology. And as we embark on this journey, Jeremiah and Nazar are stepping away from day-to-day leadership of the. Although their vision and expertise will continue our R&D efforts with the complicated problems like further scaling via data sharding and collective alignment of it. Without further ado, I want to introduce the Autonomous Network, a future foundation layer for open, secure, and accountable Web3 AI integration. Oh my God.
Yeah, Ryan, you're cutting out a little bit. Is there any chance you could switch microphone?
Hello. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
oh, much better, much better. Thank you.
Yeah, apologies. So, I want to introduce the Autonomous Network, a future foundation layer for open, secure, and accountable Web3 and AI integration. And so the Autonomous Network is built upon the Subspace Protocol because of the protocol's unique feature of decoupled execution environments, which are known as domains. And so this architectural design makes the Subspace Protocol exceptionally well suited for our specific vision. And our vision is to lead the transition to the age of autonomy. Offering an alternative to state-dependent solutions like UBI, we aim to empower individuals with control over their daily lives, with daily digital lives with the Auto Suite. And our first product of the Auto Suite will be the Autonomous ID, also called Auto ID. And this one I'm really excited to introduce. It is a privacy-preserving decentralized identity protocol, which basically enables secure, verifiable identities for both humans and AI agents. And it can allow for a proof of personhood without invasive biometric scans, which can ensure secure interactions and accountability within our network and our various D apps and services. Auto ID also enables the ability for humans to provide rule-based access controls. This ensures that AI agents adhere to the guardrails defined by their human counterparts, which essentially fosters a secure environment with trustable and accountable AI. So you'll be able to control your agent's permissions, authenticate AI-generated content, bring traceability to your generative content, and also allow you to maintain authority over you and your AI agent's digital footprint. And so our decentralized AI vertical stack consists of key components that enable the Autonomous Network to handle billions of AI augmented users and empower developers to build cutting edge DApps and agents. Some of these components include distributed storage, which ensures data integrity and availability for AI related data, distributed compute, which provides scalable, secure computational resources for AI tasks, as well as a DApp and agent layer, which facilitates the development of AI DApps and agents integrated with our Auto ID protocol. And so looking ahead at our roadmap, we have a lot of things to be excited about. First, by Q3 2024, we want to go live with mainnet as well as a TGE, which Todd will focus on later in this call. Stake Wars 2 is also another milestone, which Jim will explain in further detail, as well as the start of our builder ecosystem with Nova EVM that provides unprecedented decentralization, an abundance of storage and compute, and unlimited scalability through our sharding development roadmap. This will be led by Emil, and so if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to ask him. And so I would love to introduce now the new CEO, Lapesh, and bring you back to Jim.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. That's a great summary of our rebrand announcement, which, in case anyone hasn't seen, I'm just going to drop in the chat there. We do encourage everyone to have a read through. It's a wealth of information about our vision, our direction, what we're going to be getting up to. And as Ryan just alluded to, I am very excited to introduce our new CEO, bringing a wealth of experience in identity and AI. It's Lapesh. Hey, Lapesh.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for that introduction, Jim and Ryan. So, for the community, welcome. This is my very first interaction with you guys. You should expect more over the coming months. I'll start with a brief introduction. My name is Labesh Patel. And when I was talking to when I started talking with Autonomous or Subspace, then one of the first questions that Marcus had asked me when I was joining is, Labesh, Marcus is part of our foundation council in Switzerland. And he's like, Lavesh, who are you? Instead of what have you done or something like that. And my answer was, and is the same answer I'm going to give you guys, is first and foremost, I'm a father. I'm a father to two wonderful kids, a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old, a beautiful wife. And we split our time between Puerto Rico and California. So currently we are all in California. Professionally, most of the work that I have done over the past more than a decade or so has been involved with machine learning and AI and identity. So the most recently, I was the CTO and chief scientist at a company called Jumio, which I believe a lot of you might be aware of if you have opened accounts on the crypto exchanges. Jumio, more often than not, is the one that is doing the KYC, and there the idea with Jumio was always to keep the end user protected, right? We wanted to make sure that we are the good guys fighting fraud, your accounts don't get taken over, and just providing the guardrails. And as part of that, we had introduced a lot of AI and machine learning in making sure that we can do that with a very high level of efficacy. And as you start doing machine learning and as you start putting large AI models in production, one of the things that becomes very clear is how centralized AI is currently. AI is basically 4 or 5 companies currently in the world that control most of the AI access. I was asking somebody a question. I guess I was asking Chris the question, which is Chris, whom you know from he's also at Autonomous, as to how much would you pay for ChatGPT, and his answer was somewhere in the tune of maybe like a $500 or $1,000 a month. Imagine that people are ready to pay that much money because of the utility we are getting, but at the same time your access can be shut off at any time, right? And this is something because the AI is being controlled by just a handful of companies. When we look at Autonomous, we have this incredible opportunity to start working towards the decentralization of the entire AI stack. And when we talk about the AI stack, there are many things that go into it. One is the model part of it, which is you have to have the model infrastructure, model network, and the training aspect of it. So that's the compute part of it. The other part is the training of the, it's not training, it's annotation of the data. Data sets are super important. You cannot do anything without data on machine learning, but not just any data. You have to clean the data. There's a whole process around it, and it's very, very economically expensive to go do that process. Actually, I would purport that compared to training, the data prep is actually more expensive and more tedious than the actual training and the compute part of it. And then we have the inference part where you are calling a web API to a certain model. And on the other side, there is this model which is inferencing. You don't really know which model it is. You just have to trust that the model that you're paying for is the model that is providing you the inference results, right? So there are a lot of trust vectors within this entire pipeline. And it literally is one of the most important innovations that has been made historically. AI is going to eat the world. It is already eating the world. We need to make sure that there is a way to keep the creation, distribution, and participation in the AI ecosystem permissionless and fair. That's what we are going to be trying and doing at Autonomous. We already have an incredible base of decentralization because of you guys, because of the farmers, because of the nodes that we have. And once we go launch mainnet live, we expect that community to grow significantly. We are going to be more decentralized than probably any layer one that there is. When we talk about the modularity of our chain, we can, as Ryan mentioned, we can have those domains, compute domains that can be sitting on the consensus layer. That's where the protocol team is or has already started looking at what we can do on a compute on the compute side. So we have the decentralized storage, which we already have. We are talking about getting the compute layer built out as domains. And then on top of that, we are talking about auto ID. Why do we want to do that? Now, one of the things that is super important when you start looking at AI and the upcoming just proliferance of AI agents is even now, the problem with a lot of AI is you don't know who is generating what because the provenance is missing. Our stake is that humans, we are humanity maximalists, as I like saying. I've said that multiple times over the past few weeks. We want to make sure that the AI agents are controlled, can be controlled by their human creators. So, what we don't want is a human goes ahead, trains an AI agent, and it just goes rogue. And it starts producing inferences and data that people cannot make sense of, or it goes completely awry, and then we don't know where it is coming from. So this identity infrastructure that we are talking about does a couple things. Number one, we are able to verify a human very quickly without using invasive scans, eyeballs, and stuff. We are able to prove that humanity in a very decisive and a very quick manner using certain protocols that we are working on. That's the first part. And the second part is based on the human ID, the humans can generate IDs which are going to be given to the agents, the AI agents that they are going to be coming up with and creating. And these identities will have the ability for the humans to set rule-based access controls on what the AI agents can do. For example, I can imagine a scenario where we each one of us has 1,000 AI agents that are doing work for us, that are helping us out in our daily jobs. One AI agent might have the control of being able to spend only $5 for finding certain information on the internet, doing some research. But if there's a paywall, they can spend up to $5 to get that information, stuff like that, right? So you need to make sure that you are able to provide this control layer on the AI agents, and you need to make sure that you as a human can be distinguished from anything that is non-human. So a proof of personhood, proof of humanity, which is extremely secure, extremely fair, and non-invasive, is another primitive that we are in the process of building out. When you think, and why is autonomous network or subspace protocol the best to handle this? And the reason is when you think about the trilemma on the blockchain side, which is decentralization, security, and scalability, for identity, decentralization and security are super important, extremely important. Nobody wants their identities to be taken away. Nobody wants the identities to be hacked or being controlled by a third party. And subspace protocol, autonomous network, we are decentralized to the max, right? That's basically the core of our offering is maximal decentralization, because how easy it is for folks to participate at the consensus layer. That's why decentralized identity as a primitive, as an application on this stack makes a lot of sense, because identity needs decentralization and the security that comes from it. And that completes the stack from our vision perspective. We are looking at a verticalized stack where we can talk about the storage, compute, the application layer where we are building AI agents, and the command and control layer, which is the auto ID, where humans can make sure that these agents don't go completely wild. So this is what we are building towards. Now, there Ryan mentioned that we have the plans around going mainnet live by Q3, and this is something that the entire core team is working towards. We are tracking this very closely on a weekly basis, actually multiple times a week basis, to make sure that we are able to make that timeline. And internally, we are calling this Project Genesis. Project Genesis is our network going live by the end of Q3. We want to make sure that we deliver Project Genesis by the end of Q3. There are certain challenges that we are working on. There are certain roles that we are looking to fill. We are actively looking for a head of marketing and a head of product as major roles that we need to fill within the next few weeks. Yesterday, actually, that would have been better. So if anybody in the community has connections, know of amazing people who might be looking for these areas to work on, would love introductions. And again, super excited. I know that Jim wants to announce Take Wars 2, and I cannot wait to interact more with the team and help you guys on this amazing journey. Thank you. Back to you, Jim.
Thanks very much, Lapesh. It's just great to have you aboard. Obviously, the experience you bring is setting us up for success in our march towards mainnet. Much of the vision, the nuts and bolts of how that's going to work. Specifically when we talk about auto ID and the products we envisage being built on top of it. Emil's dropped the link to the Autonomys Academy in the chat. It's designed to be a pleasant read. It's not super technical, but again, I do encourage anyone who wants to understand how this is going to work on a deeper level to check out the Academy. Okay, so before I launch into Stake Wars, though, I'm going to ask if Todd is ready to help demystify the TGE. We've recently been talking about it in Discord, and we wanted to just explain what we can about it. So, Todd, is your mic on?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Great. Hope everybody's doing well. And for Pascal, there's the camera so you can see my face. Hope everyone is doing well. And thank you for joining us on our first Autonomys call. The reason that we wanted to talk about demystifying TGE is because a lot of questions came up in the community chat right after we did the rebranding announcement. And just to explain to people what TGE is, Token Genesis event is when the first block is produced. As you're aware, this is my connection's getting a little foggy. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to turn off the camera. So when the first block is produced and we first have consensus, we will have the Token Genesis event when the first token is produced. That has nothing to do with token sales. That has nothing to do with transfers or anything else. That is just the launching of the network. So TGE, think of it as being akin to mainnet launch. With that said, the next question that came up a lot was testnet rewards. How are the testnet rewards going to be distributed? The testnet rewards, as we've said before, are minted into the Genesis block, period. This is a permissionless network. There will be no claim. The rewards will just be there when mainnet is launched. So the tokens will appear as soon as we launch the network. There is no claim. You will just get those tokens. As you know, we've been running this for quite a while now, so it looks like the total percent going to testnets is probably going to be over 6% of the supply. So hopefully that helps the community to bootstrap the network. We appreciate it, obviously. Everyone has done a fantastic job out there farming and running the operators, and that has worked out really well. So we're happy to be able to do that. And all future communications having to do with the token will be coming from the Subspace Foundation. As we've also said all along, the intent is for us to donate the IP. The IP will go to the foundation in some form, and it will launch TGE. So the network will launch in Switzerland in the first Genesis block, which again is where the testnet rewards will be minted. And any comms regarding the token are going to come from the foundation, a Swiss-based entity. As of now, to the best of my knowledge, there are no public sales planned. So any future provisioning for the community, any additional bootstrapping of the token supply, those comms will all come from the foundation in the future. So I'm sure they look forward to sharing all of that with you. And when this hands-off takes place, you will absolutely be notified, and we'll have a lot of communications to share with you on that. With that said, I'll give it back to Jim. And if anyone has any questions about this, please hold them until the end or drop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to them as we go. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much, Todd. Great roundup of our TGE. Sorry. Okay, so I just need to. By coming on camera, I've now made everything super awkward because I'm set up on the wrong screens here. Okay, thanks, Todd. So what we've all been waiting for, of course, Stake Wars 2. We've been dropping hints about this second installment of our incentivized staking contest for a while now. And today it's finally time to detail the mechanics, the rewards, and all the finer points of this next chapter in our journey to engage the community and test the robustness of our network. First, let's have a very quick reminder of how our decoupled execution environments, which we call domains, work. You may be familiar with the process of farming on our incentivized testnet, but you may not be aware that there is another way to participate in the network as an operator. Farmers provide consensus to the network. The more space pledged, the stronger that consensus becomes, i.e., the harder it is for a bad actor to commandeer the chain for their own purposes. And that energy efficient consensus is leveraged by the domains that sit atop it to ensure consistency when ordering transactions. Those transactions are then executed by operators. That's where they fit in. And the chain state is maintained in a secure fashion. Operators stake an amount of tokens to provide a level of economic security to execution, and a comprehensive suite of fraud proofs is used to identify and punish / any operator who does not act in good faith. Domains can be thought of as roll-ups that share the farmer-provided consensus. This means it's possible to spin up and tear down domains as easily as submitting a transaction. If your project needs its own execution environment with its own tokens, it's possible to use a domain and avoid the considerable overhead of bootstrapping a network of validators to secure consensus. So hopefully everyone understands what I mean by an operator and how they fit in with domains. Speaking of domains, Stake Wars 2 will be multi-domain. Looking back at the original Stake Wars, the contest was held on a single domain, Nova, which is the team deployed EVM runtime based environment. For this exciting second installment, the team will be deploying a new additional domain based on the Auto ID runtime, which we've been working away on in the background, and you can read about on the Autonomys Academy, as I mentioned earlier. Those of you who are subscribed to our GitHub are likely to have seen the commits going in. Auto ID will enable a new generation of products which require identity at internet scale and beyond. Lavesh talked very eloquently about our view of the world, where we're going to have, potentially 1,000 agents in our pockets speaking to millions or billions of agents over the internet in the future. We expect Stake Wars 2 operators to follow transactions. With the two domains comes this responsibility on the participants to analyze where the activity is and set up where they believe the best opportunity can be found. Remember that the activity on the domains is likely to change throughout the contest, as we have a number of initiatives as part of Hacker Month 2 that will change the profile of where the transactions are coming from and where they are being executed. I don't want to steal Emil's thunder. We are going to have another separate call to introduce Hacker Month 2. So I'm not going to dwell on that for the moment. The phases. Stake Wars 2 will run on Gemini 3H for between 6 and 8 weeks, depending on progress and any issues we might find and then need to resolve. And of course, retest. This time will be split across these distinct phases. So phase 0, this is where we are right now. Team will deploy and test the auto ID domain to prepare the battle arena. Final touches will be added to the staking interfaces, which have been migrated over to Astral since the original Stake Wars. I'm sure that you've seen some of the updates going into Astral. Min stake. Min stake is set to 100 TSSC on both Nova and the Auto ID domains. This means that to take part as an operator, you must have at least this amount to stake on the network when you register. We appreciate that there could be smaller farmers and even established validator crews out there who are late to the game, but would like to have a chance to participate. And for those, we intend to have a claim mechanism on our block explorer in Astral, and to ensure we are onboarding dedicated members of the community. And in an attempt to avoid Sybil abuse, the min stake claim will only be available to wallets which are associated with a Discord account that has the verified farmer role. This can be earned by farming a single block or vote reward. More details on how to claim the role can be found in our official docs. So this is super important. If you're out there and this is the first time you're hearing about Stake Wars 2, and you know, maybe you run validator nodes on other networks, you're interested in participating in Stake Wars 2 to find out what that's going to look like on the Autonomous network on mainnet, then I really can't stress enough how important it is that you spin up a farmer. It doesn't have to have a super amount of space pledged, but you should be forging your way as quickly as possible towards getting that initial block or vote reward. Roughly speaking, we're talking about probably if you pledge 100 gigabytes, it's going to take you something like 10 days. It can be shorter, it could be longer, but depending on luck. But obviously, if you pledge 10 times that, then you can expect that time to divide by 10. If anyone has any questions about what I just talked about, please do reach out in Discord. Operators are free to register and invite nomination at any time before we hit phase 1. But I must point out that right now we are actively working on the staking interface. So submitting transactions manually via Polkadot.ds is the recommended method as of right now. Again, if you're super keen, come and tag us, anyone in the ecosystem team, in the operators channel in Discord is probably going to be the quickest way to get you on the right path. Do note that another change since the first wars is that storage fee deposits have been introduced. You can read about them on the Academy. I'll provide a link. There's going to be a forum post with all this information shortly after the call. But you can where you'll be able to read about them. But the TLDR is that an amount of operator's stake is now going to be reserved for storage fees when they register. This reserve is held and used to pay for the storage fees of bundles created by the operator of the nomination pool, which they create on registration. This is another new feature we need to test at scale, but I don't want people to be alarmed when it looks like on the staking interface that 20% of your operator stake is locked up in the background. So once phase 0 is complete and the scene has been set, we'll start the competition proper, which will be phase 1. This is the main storyline. The start block for the contest will be announced and the game will be afoot. Remember that the goal here is for operators to maintain uptime and upgrade to any new releases as quickly as possible. That's how you're a good operator. Nominators, of course, amplify an operator's stake by pledging their tokens to that operator. And nominators should always select operators they believe they will get the best return from. So by by staking with an operator, obviously you will get rewarded with a share of the operator's transaction fees, and the operator benefits because the greater the total stake, so operator stake plus nominator stake added together, the more likely they will be to be selected as the bundle producer, which is like being selected to execute the transactions and earning the fees. A big change since the original contest is that nominator limits have been removed. You may remember it was set to 256 in Stake Wars 1, but since then a limitation in the number of registrations it was possible to process on each epoch transition has been resolved by a wonderful engineering team, and that restriction has now been removed. So any operator can have any number of nominators. Okay, something new. This is different to Stake Wars 1 entirely. We have a phase 2. So this will come a while after phase 1 has been running, and we're sure that we've got stability on the initiative. We're going to introduce phase 2, which we're calling the Trials of Innovation. And these are side quests that everyone is invited to take part in. The team will be providing more details closer to time, but the tasks will be designed to test particular facets of the changes we have made to domains since Stake Wars 1. A non-exhaustive list is things like we need to test the unlimited nominator count, so we can identify any unforeseen limits. We need to test nominator slashing throughput. We can slash 10 nominators per bundle, which is quite a technical thing. I'll provide more details closer to time, but we need to see what happens when we slash a lot of people at once. And if you participate in that, it will be helping us out and you'll be rewarded. I'll get onto that in a moment. We need to test domain storage fees. As I mentioned, we now deposit storage fees. We need to test the staking interface in Astral, and we need the community feedback to identify any issues and act on those. We also need to test cross-domain messaging, XDM for short. So this is how you're able to take tokens from the consensus chain into one of the domains, so AutoID or Nova, or between domains, or any combination of those. We need to test that. And as I mentioned, we expect that the full list of specific tests will evolve. So further phase 2 challenges will be announced as we home in on exactly what we need. Those who help us out here and provide feedback will not only earn additional rewards, but help us hit mainnet beta in the greatest shape we can possibly be in. Finally, once we are happy that all the changes to domains have been tested and any fixes deployed and retested, we will close the contest by announcing the final block. This will give us a chance to reflect and take action on lessons learned as we prepare for the Subspace Foundation, forging ahead with the mainnet launch. We will hold a community event to celebrate the journey we've been on and pick out our favorite happenings to highlight. Rewards. Stake Wars 2 has 0.3% of total token supply allocated to it as rewards. That is split into 3 sub pools. So we have 0.1%, which is going to be split proportional to transaction fees earned by operators. So the operators will take a share of the 0.1% based on how they perform. Then there's 0.1% split proportional to transaction fees earned by nominators. So savvy nominators who pick great operators to stake on will be able to take a share of that 0.1%. And then finally, there'll be 0.1% split between those bold adventurers who help us with the trials in phase 2. Full details on that will come out. Obviously, we are expecting that list of trials to be somewhat fluid, but we want to spread the reward evenly across everyone who helps us there. That's our intent. Additionally, USDC prizes will be awarded to EVM and AutoID developers who deploy dApps during Hacker Month 2, which will run concurrently with Stake Wars 2. So we're going to have both things running at once. Our aim here is to develop our builder ecosystem and generate organic transactions on the network, which are going to complement the synthetic load the team will provide, all while testing the deployed domains for bugs and bottlenecks. Finally, after the popularity of the verified farmer Discord role, we will be introducing verified operator and verified nominator roles too. So don't forget to pick those up in the wallet sidekick on Astral when they become available. I've got some notes. I'm just conscious of time here. So things to note, I'm going to cover the important ones here. So our overarching goal for Stake Wars 2 is to test the latest updates to domains and their staking functionality. We anticipate that challenges will arise, things will break, and unforeseen issues will come to light. We ask that you judge us on the transparency and fairness of our response to those events when they happen, rather than the fact that they have occurred on our testnet. And drawing everything together, so some additional information and next steps if you want to take part. All operator participants will need to sync their nodes from scratch on their chosen domain. This is likely to take a number of days, so make sure you plan accordingly. Unfortunately, it's only consensus chain that can benefit from the snap sync that we've recently released. So yeah, you can expect it to take, I think last time I did it, it was around 2 days for an operator node to reach chain head. Also, an operator can only run on a single domain at a time. You will need to pick which one you want to operate on or run multiple operators. And of course, each one would require min stake for the registration of the operator. If you are starting from zero, if you're only just hearing about Stake Wars 2 for the first time now, and want to take advantage of our min stake airdrop claim initiative, this is we airdrop you some testnet coins, which will make up your min stake for registration. It is absolutely paramount that you start farming with as much space as possible immediately to stand a chance of earning the verified farmer role before the claim window closes. Now, just in case anyone's wondering, how does that fit with incentivized testnet rewards? Incentivized testnet rewards are only earned by claiming a block or a vote reward. If we just give you some tokens, your min stake, that you haven't earned the block and vote rewards for those, so there's no impact at all on incentivized testnets rewards there. There are some more notes here. I'm going to skip them because we're running out of time, but you can read about them on the forum post after the call. So you need to make sure there are restrictions around ensuring domain liveness. We're going to be tuning domains. We have dedicated channels in Discord, operators, nominators, operators. You find them under the Stake Wars section. And yeah, we expect to see political campaigns from operator teams as we did on Stake Wars 1, but please try and keep that within the channels as much as possible. We don't want it linking into, we don't want big kind of campaigns kicking off in farmer chat where people are looking for a different kind of support. Okay, I think apart from just, I said I'd do it, reminding everyone that they need to upgrade to at least the June 18 build to prepare for Stake Wars 2. We will be releasing numerous runtime upgrades, which are necessary to build the environment for Stake Wars 2. And if you don't stay up to date, there's a chance that your node may crash, you may stop farming rewards. So please do stay on top of those updates. So we'd love it for you to join the adventure. Of course, Stake Wars 2 is not just a part of our testnet. It's an epic journey blending competition, innovation, and community collaboration. We invite all community members to participate, contribute, and celebrate the evolution of our network in Stake Wars 2. Together, let's shape the future of Stake Wars and blockchain technology. So stay tuned for more updates and detailed instructions as we approach the start date, which will be announced soon. And finally, onwards, Stake Warriors. And with that rousing speech, I think it's time to take some questions, guys. I know we've got Emil and Randy in the chat, my moderators. I don't know if anyone wants to jump up and help me out while I try and catch up on the chat. That would be super useful. Or if anyone's got a particular question that they wanted to highlight. James L. Jones. Thank you, Todd. That's very generous. Okay, I'm going to try and find. So usually we tag questions with question marks in the chat. So I'm just going to scroll back up. Okay. How is the compute handled from Punky? So that's a great question, Punky. So we talked about domains a little bit earlier. The wonderful thing about domains, of course, is that they are entirely kind of separate environments in their own right. We have an EVM runtime, and soon we're going to have an auto ID runtime, but it's possible to design other runtimes which is able to change the characteristics of your rollup that's sitting on top of the farmer consensus. So what we are looking at right now, and conversations with Daria, our researcher, and the rest of the research team, are around, how can we facilitate things like handling training data, huge data sets, which is actually quite a tricky thing to solve on a blockchain. But what the lower hanging fruit, of course, are storing models, storing annotations, some of the smaller data sets that are necessary for AI. So when we say how is the compute handled, we are kind of looking into building custom domains out to really harness the power of the network. Hopefully that covers your question. And guys, Todd, Lavesh, if you've spotted any question you want to take, feel free to jump in.
I answered many of them already in the chat. If there's any I missed that were pertaining to things that I covered, I would love to hear them. Jim, did we bring Gabrielle to the stage? Did he have a question or?
Do apologize. I'm not seeing the. Someone has their hand up today. Let me find.
Well, Gabrielle, you're on the stage. So was there something you wanted to ask or?
Yeah, it was just a few three questions. I'll try and be quick. First of all, Jim, I'm guessing you're from Essex, but we can cover that another time. Labesh, you mentioned permissionless and fair, and I certainly see those as essential Web3 values. But humanity maximalist is why I'm autonomous advocate, and that's key to me, and I think a massive differentiator. I happened to publish a bit of research on that and mentioned Humaism. I'll share the link in the chat. What is the crossover with Humaic Labs between Autonomous? Is first question. Next is, are there any products that are being dropped from Autonomous that was part of Subspace Network portfolio? And Labesh, you mentioned making introductions. How might we reach out, or how do we submit those? Finally, if I may, Ula asked about marketing. I applied to the head of marketing role, got invited to an interview, but it got cancelled a day later, and I didn't get a personal message or explanation. So just raising that and wondering what happened. But thanks.
Yeah. And sorry about that. I'll start with your last question. So that's not acceptable on our side. If somebody reached out and applied for a position, we need to close a loop on that. So definitely, I'll look into that. Let me start now answering your first question, which is the overlap between Humaic Labs and Autonomous. So these are two completely separate endeavors. Humaic Labs is looking at one particular problem, which is the problem of AI alignment. When you train large language models, what ends up happening is all LLM training is next token prediction. What it does not have is a code of ethics or morality on whether it should be predicting what it is predicting. For example, if you ask an LLM, which is non-aligned, what are the 10 best ways to kill yourself, it will happily give you 10 best ways to kill yourself. And that's not something that is ethically or morally correct for an entity such as an AI agent to talk about. Alignment is the process which prevents such things. Now, the way current alignments are done, they're very not human centric. There is a lot of human labor involved. There are certain protocols around aligning them. What Humake Lab is focusing on is researching that particular aspect of how we can make that particular problem of alignment better. So that's what it is. Autonomous is doing something different, which is we are not looking at that particular issue. We are looking at making sure that the entire LLM training, annotation, compute, inference, that stack the community can permissionlessly participate in that, and that's a very separate problem. So two different problem statements out there. Regarding the dropping of products from Subspace Suite, I am not aware of anything that was on the roadmap and committed that we are dropping. I might be wrong though, but from my perspective, one of the things that when we were rebranding to Autonomous, one of the proposals was let's just focus on the auto ID and let's just focus on the decentralized identity part and not focus on the protocol part. But the decision that we made in conjunction with the team is that the protocol part is as if not more important. The consensus layer is super important, and that is the differentiator that we have compared to anybody else who is trying to do that. And obviously it's a big problem. A lot of projects are looking into how to do this, but our differentiator is the fact that the underpinnings are extremely decentralized. So hopefully that answers. I don't know whether I missed any question. And I would love to get a link to the article that you have written. Oh, how to reach out. Jim, do we have a way for the community to reach out to our team?
Sure, you can ping us. I think we're having a slight problem with our at autonomous.net addresses. Our subspace.network ones still do, but Discord, we're always on Discord. There's the forum. I actually noticed, Gabriel, that you put a post on there as well. So yeah, if you're not having any joy, feel free to ping me directly and I'll make sure that I get you connected up to the right people.
And Gabriel, again, sincere apologies for not closing the loop on whatever happened out there on your application.
And you're not a million miles away with your guess of Essex. I'm guessing from where that didn't look like Essex on your camera. I have to admit. Okay, I don't know if there are any burning questions. I'm gonna try and. So I noticed that Joss has asked a question about will there be an ecosystem DApp dev incentives? Approximately when? I think this is a very important thing before the mainnet starts. As do we, Joss. Absolutely. Again, I don't want to steal Emil's thunder, but you can expect to hear much more about Hacker Month 2 and the exciting plans we have for that. Which is something that squarely targets us developing our builder ecosystem. I see Emil's answered as well, of course. Are we planning to launch a mobile application? Lapesh, I know that this is something that you're very keen on. You have some interesting use cases for a mobile app. Is there something you'd just like to?
Yeah. So this is a question that I had also asked a few weeks back over dinner with a few colleagues, and that started a discussion around how we could do that. One of the ideas that our head of protocol, Daria, came up with is we could use a mobile app for nominations. And this is something that I believe the team has started looking at. Jeremy, who's our head of engineering, he's not here today. He is camping in the woods. But yeah, there is definitely that. This is definitely something that we are looking to see what we can do. What we can do, because I believe having a mobile app and giving users the ability to participate through that in some fashion, maybe not direct forming, but nominations would be a good foot in the door, a good way for people to be exposed to the autonomous network.
Thanks, Lapesh. Yes, it opens up a whole new level of exposure, of course.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to rattle through a couple of quick questions. So Ula asks, when will the official GPU plotter be released? For the up to the minute updates on the GPU plotter, check out the Monday's DevSync, which you can find in the social feeds channel. It's the last video until we post this one in the social feeds channel in Discord. In a nutshell, it's well, it's in the pipeline. I don't want to say the update from Nazar is the official answer. Inutik, so can we start 2 operators on both domains? Yes, it's permissionless, Inutik. If you've got 2 environments that you can spin up an operator on, and you've got 2 times min stake, yeah, it's permissionless. Punky's hungry. Sorry, Todd.
Excuse me, Jim. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. I answered the supranational question. Just to, again, I don't have the exact details. That would come from the development team, but I can tell you we've said before that we've engaged supranational for this, and our delivery, when we set the agreement, which was probably 6 months ago, is slated for August-September timeframe. So we would certainly expect delivery by that time.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Todd. You heard it here first, guys. We've got a delivery date. Excellent. So Punky asks, will operators still be able to set min amount to stake to them? Yes, absolutely, Punky. As far as I know, I need to check. The staking interface is in a state of flux, but last time I checked it, yeah, you set that min amount and tax. Karasani asks, how do auto ID systems strengthen trust and accountability between users and the AI agents? Lopesh, did you want to take that one?
Yeah. The way we should think about auto ID is we need a framework where entities, whether they be human or AI agents, we can distinguish them, number one. And number two, we sort of put in place a hierarchy, for lack of a better term. And humans should be the ones who are setting up the control mechanisms for the AI agents they create. And that's the idea out here, where you get an ID, you are able to, and IDs can be generated. It's a hash, right? So that part is trivial, but whether that ID belongs to a human or not, that is the non-trivial part, which a lot of protocols are trying to solve. We have a particular way of solving it, which is very painless, and that would prove that you are a human. And based on your hash, which is the ID, you can generate other hashes, other identities which have this provenance that this was generated using that initial ID, which is already a human ID. And now the derivative hashes or the identities can be provided to your AI agents with certain controls in place so that the human is always in charge as far as making sure that the guardrails on what the AI agents can do are in place. So this is the infrastructure that we are putting in place. And now, if my AI agent is interacting with your AI agent, there is that provenance information that, okay, this agent that belongs to me, and that agent belongs to this other human, and there is an interaction between these agents. That is the trust vectors that we are putting into place through this infrastructure.
Thanks, Lapesh. Okay, we are at the top of the hour, guys. I'm going to take one last question, which was from Punky. Has the requirements for operators gone down at all? The requirements remain the same, Punky. We are going to close because I don't think there were any questions. I see that Todd and everyone has been answering questions as we've gone along. But of course, the conversation doesn't end here. If we did miss your question, if you feel like you want to, pull the thread on an answer we provided, do reach out in Discord. But we're slightly overrunning, so I just want to tie things up because I want to express our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. Your engagement and those questions have made this another wonderful community call, and we appreciate your continued support and enthusiasm for what we're building here at Autonomys. So stay tuned for firm details on the Stake Wars 2 start date. We have a provisional one, but we do have dependencies on the software, how testing goes with the software. And remember that if you do want to take part and you will struggle to make min stake, the most important thing you could do right now is to spin up a farmer as soon as possible and get that verified farmer role so you can take part in the claim process. So thank you once again for spending your time with us. Keep an eye on our Telegram, our Discord, our Twitter, and the forum for future announcements. We look forward to seeing you at our next event. And until then, keep farming, keep questioning, and as always, stay connected. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.